Hey there tech fans, Rick here again from the OREI team. In today's video, I'll provide a complete overview of the graphical user interface for the OREI UHDS-808VW. This product combines both an HDMI Matrix and a video wall controller into a single product, and you have complete control over how the Matrix or video wall controller works by using the buttons on the front of the unit, the included infrared remote control, by connecting it to your network, opening a web browser and accessing that graphical user interface, or by directly connecting this to a computer through an RS-232 connection. But all of those different interfaces act a little bit differently and have some limitations on what you can control. So the buttons on the front are great to use if you're in the matrix mode, where you can redirect certain inputs to certain outputs. The same is true for the remote control. The RS-232 connection gives you an expanded control over the configuration settings and other parameters inside the unit. But by far the most expansive interface is that graphical user interface, which again is very easy to access from a computer on your network by simply opening a web browser. So as part of this overview, I'll start with how you can configure the unit to match your network settings so you've got the right IP address and you can actually access it over your network. I'll show you how to plug the cable in the back, and then I'll walk through all the configuration menus available in the product and explain the different things you can change within those menus so you can adjust those parameters to perfectly match your situation. And then I'll come back at the end and point out a few things about this particular unit that really make it special when you're comparing it to other products. So stay tuned next for the overview. To access the graphical user interface, the first thing you'll need to do is to connect the Matrix to your network by plugging in a LAN cable to the LAN port on the rear of the unit. Once you've connected the Matrix to your network, you'll next need to determine its current IP address. And to do this, simply tap the menu button once, then tap the down button until you come to the setup section and tap enter. Then tap the down button again to access the IP info section and tap enter. And this will show you the current status for DHCP, right now it's off, and the current IP address. Write down that IP address because you can simply open a browser at this point anywhere in your network and point it at that IP address to access the graphical user interface. If you have DHCP enabled on your network, or you'd like to choose a different IP address, you can go back into the menu, go back to the setup section, go back to the IP info section, and you can turn DHCP on by tapping up or down and then tapping enter. What this does is allow the Matrix to choose an available IP address on your network and assign itself to that IP address. So if you back out of the menus at this point, it takes a few seconds for that to happen, maybe 30 seconds at most. But if you go back into the menu sections now, go back to setup, go back to IP info, you'll see that it's chosen 192.168.1.144, which is an open IP address on your network, and you'll point your browser at that IP address to access the graphical user interface. Now next, I'm going to actually walk through the different menu options inside of that graphical user interface so you understand your configuration choices. Once you've opened a browser and made a connection to the video matrix through the LAN port, you'll see the main logon screen. You'll need to enter the right details to access the matrix. The default username is admin with a capital A, and the password is admin in lowercase. Once you've entered these, be sure to tap the login button to enter the matrix. The first screen you'll see is the status page, where you'll see a lot of important information about the matrix. On this page, you'll find the model number and the current level of firmware the product is using, which is important in case there is a newer version of firmware available. A little further down on the screen, you'll see the current connection details, including the host name and subnet mask, as well as the gateway and MAC address. These can all be changed later if needed to match your local network for future access to the product. The next tab down is the Matrix tab. This is where you can easily change which input media is being directed to which output device. To do this, simply first choose the output you'd like to change, and then select a new input from below. If you want to remember this relationship, you can name it as a preset and either save or retrieve it later using the buttons for each of the scenes you've created. This can save you a lot of time with a future setup. The Input tab will display the current connection status for all 8 of the inputs. There is an activity indicator for each input, confirming the connection to a media device for that particular port. On this tab, you can adjust the EDID settings for each device to match a variety of different media profiles. You can simply click the arrow next to the input you'd like to change and select a new EDID setting from the list. You can either adjust each of these settings individually or recall them automatically from a saved file by browsing your computer. If you use a particular group of EDID settings regularly, you can also save them to a file on your computer for easy recall. The Output tab is similar to the Input tab and provides control over all 8 of the output streams. It shows you if you have a monitor connected with a visual indicator to verify a solid connection. The Matrix provides a resolution adjustment for each output and allows you to adjust this setting manually if needed. You have additional control over the color space for each individual input and can adjust these by clicking the arrow to the right of the setting and selecting a new option. You can also adjust the HDCP version being applied for copy protection on each of the outputs. Finally, you have the ability to easily mirror the media on each display as well as disabling the stream. The Matrix provides a video wall function that allows you to select a single input to be displayed across the collection of monitors to create a large video display. The Video Wall tab provides some adjustments to this function. You can start by configuring the output to match your monitor setup by clicking the arrow to the right of each option. First, select the number of rows you have chosen and then set the columns. This allows the Matrix to internally adjust how it stitches the image together across all of your output displays. The Matrix also allows you to control the audio output for each of these inputs individually. The Ext Audio tab is where you can make these choices. Each individual output can match the input being sent there, or you can choose a single input to send to all of the outputs at the same time. You can also enable and disable the audio for each output as well. The CEC tab provides complete virtual control over the Matrix. On this screen, you can modify each of the 8 input choices by simply tapping an icon to turn each input on and off, as well as control the media playback for that input. On the output section, you can mute the audio, as well as enabling and disabling each of the output streams. The final tab is the Network tab, which allows you to make adjustments to the network and login details for the Matrix. In the top section, you can change the network address for the Matrix on the LAN and either choose it manually or let DHCP find an open address if your network provides this feature. On the bottom section, you can change the login credentials for both the user and admin accounts. This tab also allows you to rename the Matrix to something custom if you're using the device in a commercial installation. You also have the ability to reset these values to factory settings if needed. I hope you found this overview of the graphical user interface for the OREI UHDS-808VW helpful. This product combines 2 individual products into a single unit. It's an HDMI Matrix that allows you to easily connect 8 different ultra-high definition media devices to 8 ultra-high definition monitors at the same time, and then decide which of those media streams is being displayed on each one of those monitors at any given time. It also provides video wall functionality that allows you to select one of the inputs and have it displayed across all the monitors at the same time, combining them into a gigantic video wall. Controlling those functions and understanding the configuration steps behind that is something that's very important in order to use the product correctly. And you have a few choices. You can use the buttons on the front. You can use the included infrared remote control, you can directly connect it to a computer through an RS-232 cable, or you can use the graphical user interface I just explained, which gives you a much more expansive control over the product. It's incredibly easy to use, and with a few simple connections, you can be up and running in no time. So until next time, thanks again for watching.